new year, it's been a week of very familiar feelings. I've become an expert in experiencing, but I seem to not want to learn a lesson. My wife and I are both 30 years old. We started dating 11 years ago when we were 19. We got married 3 years ago. There are no children. Our relationship has always seemed like a one-direction highway to me. Although I admit she has provided me with love and mental support over the years. I've been passionately dependent on her for over a decade. Never really felt appreciated, but I didn't mind. To me, having her as my eternal partner seems like the ultimate purpose in my life, and I'm simply addicted to her. As throughout our dating years, she repeatedly found herself stuck with me and tried to break it up. But as a result of my begging, crying, promises, and her own uncertainty, she kept coming back. But every single time this happened, I developed a slight sense of resentment and lack of trust towards her. We fast forward a few years, and we eventually got married 3 years ago. Our marriage has been somewhat bumpy with good times and bad times for both of us. A lack of trust and her commitment to our relationship never went away, and she sure didn't hesitate to leave for her parents every time she felt she needed space. She's a very frustrated person by nature, always anxious, worried, sleepless, and in fear of getting let down. I can claim with confidence that in the 11 years I've been with her, not once has she come across as completely happy or satisfied with her day, no matter what. I've pointed this out to her, and she has always seemed to acknowledge her less than positive approach towards life, but never really did anything about it. I've loved this girl since we met, and as far as financial responsibilities, I have given her the dream life. She came to our marriage with pretty much nothing, worked different jobs part-time, then decided to go to college and got her degree. That's all this while I worked my ass off to buy us a fantastic house and 2 expensive cars. Her latest episode came after the sudden death of her brother in a car accident. It was awful, and I tried very hard to provide her with all the support in the world, but she seems to just not care anymore. I know I'm ranting and probably being unfair to her in my statements, but she has now left me and wants a divorce. Of course, I wondered if there's another person in her life, but I have no evidence of such a thing. She's kind of too uptight and snobby for guys to approach her with ease. Maybe I'm just being naive. Sorry for the long post, but I'm crushed. I've been somewhat trying the 180 thing, and even wrote her a very emotional but firm goodbye letter wishing her a life of happiness. She replied back with a one-liner wishing me the same. She keeps wanting to come and pack up her stuff. I keep hesitating to give her the time. I just don't know if I should. I've asked her to reconsider and at least give Mick a try. But she's being her stubborn self. I feel like the world is coming down crushing on me and there's no end to it. Everything I worked for, everything I had hoped for, all the love I have, all the attraction, a satire of all the memories in my own youth are going down the toilet. I made her tonight. She wanted to know when I'm going to separate our bank account and let her come get her stuff. I asked if we could have a coffee. She agreed. Partly over a coffee date, she reconfirmed her firmness about divorce, not separate. She said her brother gave her the strength to leave me for good. What the hell? As for the questions asked so far, she left to her parents' place, which is empty right now, because they're abroad and coming back in 2 weeks. She said not much when she left our home. She said, "I'm going to stay at my parents' for a while," and I didn't resist while she was packing the first set of things she grabbed to leave. Now she wants to come get the rest. The most crushing things she said since leaving are, "I need a bedroom set." We live in a rental apartment, so she's closer to her parents and I'm closer to my job. She says she'll gladly move back in if I leave and will probably share the place with Cindy. If I don't move, she wants the bedroom set. I have planted a GPS tracker and a VR in her car over the past week. It seems like she's telling the truth about not being involved with anyone. Her daily activities show no signs of another guy being around, but I'm still doubtful. She's developed a lot of anger. She can't talk to me without pressing her teeth or shedding tears. She says she was living a fake life that never really existed. She says she knows I love her a lot and has always taken comfort in that, but she can't go on just relying on that anymore. She says she's absolutely done being my wife and wants a new life. Her words are like bullets going through my fragile heart. I didn't beg or cry tonight. I was smiling, happy, wearing my ring, which she questioned, and explaining that for our 11 years of being together, we owed it to ourselves to try counseling. She was having absolutely none of it. She wants me to help her get on with life by making things easy for her. Moving out, selling the house, giving her the car. My God, I still care so much about this girl. I was going to tell her she can have everything, but a voice told me not to say that. I'm kind of half done. The part of me that is alive still holds some hope, but I know I'm being stupid. She left me. She fucking left me. Our life. Our beautiful life. Now she gets to have over 100,000 alimony and a broken ex-husband who still loves her. I've heard their conversations, so fake and childish. They're coworkers who only met each other 3 weeks ago. They're just emotionally supporting each other to get on with their lives. Apparently, Cindy is leaving her parents' place to be independent, and my wife has no problem sharing her home with some stranger from work when less than a week ago a real husband, a lover, and everything was sharing a bed with her in the same home. The floor doesn't begin to describe how I feel. She has brought Cindy with her, and well-dressed, being very nice and hopefully confident. My wife was trying very hard not to cry when the dog kept licking her. I'm not sure how to feel about anything anymore. The image I'm presenting is definitely not of a needy person, though. I have taken all her pictures off the walls as well. No picture of us together remains visible in the house. I just changed all my Facebook pictures as well. I don't know how to feel. I'm losing it inside. Update. It's been 2 weeks since she left. That despite her initial eagerness to divorce, she now seems to be having second thoughts. Eagerness to divorce. We have no separation agreement drafted. I didn't pursue it. She hasn't either. I've been a total 180 since the very moment she left. My only approach has been to calmly express to her that divorce is not what I wanted. No apologies, no begging, not much sadness. I've been a rock torn inside, though. She called yesterday after no contact since last week. She said she wanted to see how I'm doing. I said I'm fine and need to get back to a meeting, so we hung up. How long do I continue this? Should I even continue? She's not having an affair. The one doubt is the result of reading these stories and how these separations usually end. What is the next step here? I don't think having no contact is serving me well here. Please advise. I want our marriage to work. I truly care about this girl, and she has clearly shown signs of doing the same. I know I can survive a divorce. In fact, for a few days, I let her go in my mind. I'm a much stronger man now, but I still want my marriage to not end this way. We've had very little communication since she left 2 weeks ago. Is this healthy? Except, begging no longer exists in my vocabulary. I will never beg anyone for anything in my life. However, assuming she has doubts about her decision, I believe she does. Is there a proper way of approaching her with my dignity and attraction intact? Is there any contact that is better than no contact in order to make her miss me? Yes, I could do that. Although she seems to have a need to assure everyone that calls her, in shock, that she's made the right decision for both of us, and I will one day thank her for what she's done. She's at her parents' home alone. That's pretty much what she does with her time most of the time. I don't understand it. I don't know how she can go through the anxiety of separation all alone and stay strong. She still has all my pictures on her Facebook profile, even though I removed them as a part of 180 last week. I miss her so much. No one, even her own sister, is pleased with what she's done. The only person who seems to somewhat go with her mindlessness is her new coworker. I'm glad everyone agrees with me that she will not find a better life without me, because the love and commitment I have shown to our marriage is exemplary among friends and family. A day later, we talked for 20 minutes tonight. That lengthy call was against my wish. I called to tell her that divorce was not my choice, but I had to move forward with separating the accounts. She paused. I said in a calm tone that I still loved her very much and didn't want any of this. So out of the blue, she explodes and starts telling me I'm wrong to suggest to people that she might be having an affair because she's not. I said, I don't know what to tell you. You left without a word and don't want to try it either. Where does that leave me? She started crying, saying she didn't want to tell me this, but now she doesn't care. So I'm scared she's going to admit an affair. She said, I did say no to Maxie, but I was angry. I'm willing to try it if you show me. You're committed to it. So I become very happy inside. But then she continues, the way you have turned out to be just like your dad scares me. I can't end up like your mom. I can't stand the way you treat me during fights. Your dad treated you, your sister, and your mom like dirt, and you show no signs of concerns. Why have you forgotten about what he did to you? Why are you turning out to be just like him? I didn't like her tone one bit, but let her continue. She said, if you want to change, then you have to show me. But to tell her to get out right then, right there, because that was just too much. But again, I let her express her frustration, something I rarely allow her to do. She said, you're being a total loser by becoming your dad. A loser, a pathetic loser. At this point, I had enough of her hurtful comments. I said, I will talk to you later. She wouldn't stop. So again I said, "Dear, I will talk to you later," and hung up. Now I'm just pissed off. First of all, what gives her the right to leave our marriage and demand an immediate divorce if this is all she's hung up on? What the heck? Are we in high school? Second, she's valid points about me acting like my dad during fights, verbally abusive. I'm not going to deny that. I need to work on this very hard, regardless of how we end up. Third, she has no right to tell me to prove anything to her. I'll only prove things to a devoted spouse who doesn't leave her marriage over the stupidest thing. I will only change for me, and she can confirm the changes in me when she commits herself to our marriage, in our own home, not from her parents' place. Fourth, I love my parents and wouldn't want to hurt them, but I do need to tell them about their negative influence in our marriage. How the hell can I do that without hurting them or feeling guilty? That's going to be a mess. I have no intention of contacting my wife ever again. I'm also planning to not talk to her for at least a week, even if she calls. After people and all of that, I have nothing to say to her, and it seems like she only wants to hurt my feelings for the time being, although she claims she loves me. I will draft 2 things. 1, separation agreement, divorce arrangements. 2, reconciliation agreement with professional help for both of us as a condition. I will present her with the 2 options at the end of January, and after having a talk with her in front of our parents, she can decide on which one she wants to sign. I'm not going to let her abuse my feelings any longer. I will just start working on my own issues. She can enjoy the new me only when she decides to address her internal anger via therapy. I'm not her therapist. Her words, her tone, and her attitude are as demeaning as ever. The real me can stand that kind of emotional abuse. Let's say I stop saying stupid crap to her during fights, which is what she wants me to do. What exactly is she going to do after? Drive me to the edge until I commit X myself. I have no doubt she will push me as far as she can. That's just how she views our marriage right now, and I don't fully blame her. She's got issues of her own and never happy in life, regardless of the situation. And she needs to address them. But so far, she has shown no signs of being interested in doing that, except for the small hint tonight. She basically said she wants my parents out of our life. Neither my parents nor her parents have much to do with our lives. They rarely visit and have no say in our marriage. Really, they don't. I do admit my parents' divorce really screwed me up in many ways. I was 21 years old, and I have a mother whose health requires me to be in contact with her at least once a day. My father was indeed abusive and controlling towards my mother, and I set out to be a different person than him since my teen years. I cut all contact with him for 3 years. Actually, at least in the past couple of years, we've somewhat reconnected, and this drives my wife absolutely crazy. I'm sorry, but he's my dad. What the heck can I do about it? I would never ask my wife to cut ties with her family. That would be very unfair. Now while typing all this, I'm realizing that what makes me a bad husband in our marriage is the resentment I have towards my wife for putting down my family all the time is the root of our marriage issues. I can't stand it. Is it really right for her to do this? We normally do fine on our own, even when we fight about typical marriage stuff. However, as soon as families become the topic, we both lose it. Part of it has to do with our families not getting along well. Our families were friends before we even met, and now they're not on great terms. What a day! I sat my parents down and told them everything I wanted to say. My father left in anger, and my mother is pretending to understand. I got so much off my chest. It was incredible. I called the wife, went over to her parents' place. They weren't there. Told her to sit down and listen to a few sentences I had to say without speaking back. I told her I deserved to be heard without getting interrupted, and she complied. I told her how I felt about her, how I felt about sometimes following my father's path, and how I will never thank her for breaking my heart by leaving me. I told her she is hurtful in her talks, and I'm using our hurtful conversations as practice to overcome my anger issue, but I will never ever consider her demeaning tone acceptable. I told her from this day on, I'm only going to look ahead and not analyze things said and done in the past. I will be a new me and would like to have her as the love of my life. I didn't wait for her to say a word. I got up and left. It feels so good. I've said what I had to say. Let's see if she will find more excuses to push for a divorce. I will not resist anymore. It took me a whole 24 hours to digest the core of her words and filter the hurtful ones. But I'm glad I didn't respond to her right away. Probably a first for me. I've told her what needed to be said. I've taken the action that I had to take in order to bring myself to peace with my family situation. I'm practicing controlling my anger all day long. I'm not a freak. I don't get angry about too many things. That's only when people target my weak spots. Divorced parents is a very weak spot for children of divorce. She knows that and sometimes abuses that weakness of mine to get her point across. Well, now she can't really do that anymore because I don't feel weak about my parents' situation. I hope this strength I have gained today lasts because it's been a long time since I felt so relieved. Having said all that, I miss her so much I don't know what to do. I don't want to ask her to come back. That would just give her more reason to prolong this crap. I even went and dropped off our dog with her, so she doesn't think I'm holding the dog as a hostage to get her to miss her home. I'm leaving for a work trip on Tuesday, coming back on Friday. It sure would be nice to come back home and see her be on iPad. It feels like an impossible dream, but I'm hopeful. So I had set out to reconcile with the love of my life at any cost. I mean, any cost, except losing my dignity. I sought tremendous amounts of information, help, therapy, self-reflection, and mental strength. I was doing well, very well. In fact, I felt so good about myself and my future that I was certain my wife would absolutely run back to me without any hesitation. I had the signals, the signs, the hope, and the strength to go all in. Today, for the first time, I woke up feeling absolutely positive that my wife and I would be together in a few weeks or months, regardless of how crappy that period might be. I felt so strong. I was giving advice to people on how to reconcile. I've changed very much for the better. For the better, I've been working on myself. My wife has noticed the changes. We are on good terms and communicating more effectively now. as I had it all under control. I was set to be a man she would absolutely adore, and I knew deep down that I truly loved her. Until I wanted to put snow tires on her car, which I have keys to and bought it for her. I wanted to do this to put my own mind at ease about her driving in the snow. Well, I started the car and the stereo started playing a CD. It was a CD of my wife's appointment with her spiritual therapist. It was a very recent appointment because he talked about dates and events that took place after her leaving our home. This spiritual therapist is overwhelming with emotion and certainty. He really knows how to make people believe the stuff he says. Here's the gist of what he said. My dear, I see that you have broken free from a marriage where you gave so much but received little. Your husband has issues of his own and will continue to do so. You deserve better. You will fall in love with someone other than him and have a wonderful life. You will be a wonderful mother. I see a great future for you after this. He sounds so convincing. I had started doubting myself and am destroyed. After everything I had planned, after all the changes I made, I love my wife dearly. I loved her to the point of being nuts. Not healthy, I know, but that's how much I want her. I feel broken. I'm a very confident person in life when it comes to things other than my love for my wife. I have an amazing career where I excel at things without even trying hard. I have enough money to support our life and generously give to her family and my own. I have very fulfilling habit of researching the crap out of everything I get curious about. I'm a curious person by nature. I know myself and love myself the way I am, and am completely willing to change myself to fix the flaws that might stand in the way of my wife loving me. I love my wife so much, and I miss her to the point of being absolutely crazy, with thoughts of her being physically near me. Am I done? Is my plan a lost cause? Do I even stand a chance against this magician who has infiltrated my wife's mind and gives her crazy hope about her future? I'm so in love with this girl that I would give up my life for her. I'm doing all I can. I know I need to feel more confident and not be so dependent on her. But we've been together for 11 years, and I would give up everything just to be with her. I know my flaws, most of them anyway, and am addressing them one by one. I saw nothing in my way until this crap hit me like a hammer today. I want to talk to her, but I know it will further push her away if I tell her how I feel about this guy brainwashing her like the con artist he is. I'm really sad. I feel so helpless after weeks of working to get myself to a place of strength and confidence. She's so vulnerable right now. She will take advice from a spoon. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to compete with the overwhelming power of this spiritual therapist, who is illegal with no license and wrong most of the time, as I have researched. She's a total believer in this guy's bullcrap. I'm willing to give this time, but his words insist on her giving it time and she will find another person. So I'm fighting against a zombie. I'm broken, and she won't stop listening to it. The therapist has her convinced that she will fall in love for the first time in her life with a different man, and she's so happy about it. I'm starting to believe in the therapist's message myself. I had an awakening of my own and can easily claim I love her unconditionally no matter what choices she makes. but I can't help thinking I'm losing the love of my life to some paid therapist's imagination. What should I do? Please help me. She's so happy with this recording. It's all she listens to and thinks about all day. What the hell do I do to get her out of this phase? I feel the strongest love I've ever felt for her, but she's happily dreaming about a future husband who she will fall in love with for the first time. She actually believes now that she was never in love. I feel like I'm getting played by uncontrollable forces here. Just a week later, today she sat me down and explained, I hope you can accept that I may never love you the way you love me. I'm okay with just spending the rest of my life, perhaps unhappily married, as long as I don't hurt you. This might be a phase and I may get past it. I know for a fact that my wife is not physically into me much due to my height. I'm a bit short and the same height as her. She has continuously brought this up in our relationship as something she just can't deal with. Tours. It's crushing to see her face deflate into a disappointed state every time she sees me after a few hours. It's like I can read the words. What the hell am I doing with this guy? In her eyes. On the other hand, she continuously calls me the love of her life. She calls me handsome. Our physical life is great. She says the same, but then she goes into her phase where she says, I don't want to hurt you, but I don't want to fake things anymore either. I don't love you the way you love me. I'm deeply hurt, but madly in love. Right now, she's in her bed calling me to go and cuddle with her as she misses my touch. I will go, but I can't trust her feelings. She constantly praises my intelligence and values. She admits she's learned so much from me. She'll be thankful for the rest of her life. She says she doesn't think anyone can love and care for her like I do. She says she loves my knowledge of things and how I can keep up with the best of the best when I want to. She has said many times that no one can even come close to me as far as what she wants in a man. She says all that while she's in her not in love phase too. So complex and confusing. She says she sees nothing wrong in her life, but is not happy. She sometimes openly talks about her wish to go away. I've asked her for years to seek professional therapy, but she always finds an excuse to not do it. I love her so much. 2 months later, after 11 years of struggling with a BPD wife, 4 years married, I've decided not to pursue the marriage any further and go ahead with the separation. Divorce. She left our marital home 4 days ago. Not for the first time, but whatever. It was her decision for the nth time, and I'm pretty determined to not end up begging her to come back. I'm a self-diagnosed nice guy, rescuer plus idiot, by the way. I must admit, I've been a fairly inconsistently suspicious partner over the years, due to her BPD traits which presented themselves as her complete lack of respect for me and our relationship. I've always found it difficult to fully trust her. Having said that, over the years, I have never gotten any hard evidence of cheating on her part, but my gut feelings have always been quite volatile. I've done some snooping at various points in our relationship, but again, nothing concrete was found to be conclusive. I found it to be fair. I'm almost sure that my wife was at least physically loyal to me for the entirety of our marriage. Not sure about before still. 4 days ago, when we were having our very last conversation about separating, I asked her if she was planning to date while separated. Something I would have not thought I would end up asking the love of my life. She said she's not sure what I mean by dating, but probably yes. I was heartbroken. I then foolishly asked if she was going to do something more. She got very defensive and said, if that's what you want to hear, then yes, I might have a physical thing. This absolutely crushed me inside. 2 days later, she got a new phone plus a new phone number. She proceeded to erase all the recent calls or texts from her previous phone and brought it for me, saying it doesn't work anymore. I can't charge it. I checked the phone and it works, charges just fine. Strangely enough, she canceled the caller ID service off her old phone too. So whoever calls gets listed as private now. She also said, I'm free to tell everyone that she's a nuthead if they asked why our marriage ended. I said I would never do such a thing. I'm working on empowering myself to finally end this toxic relationship and have been making some decent progress. Fictional seers, however, can't shake off the crushing mind movies and the uncertainty about her fidelity. I'm still financially helping her with a lot of things and would like to make this divorce a very amicable one. But I sometimes think the only reason I'm doing that is because I still consider her a dear friend and want the best for her. Now, I don't think I would want the best for her if she actually ran to another guy's bed right away. My self-esteem has almost completely vanished, thanks to over a decade of emotional or verbal abuse. And this is one last thing I simply don't plan on backing off from. I really don't want to snoop or spy. Every time I do that, I end up obsessing about her. I want to move on, but I also want to know the truth. I can't rely on her being honest with me. She's a BPD and very unpredictable, especially since her brother passed in a car accident 7 months ago. I just don't know what to do about it. She's driving the nice expensive car I bought her as an anniversary gift and has taken both keys, so I have no access to it, even though I had no intention of spying on her. I can't help but wish I had the keys to put a VR in her car. I did it last time she left, and it actually helped me find out that she wasn't unfaithful. So I did everything possible and convinced her to reconcile. This time, I feel different. She's a BPT, and no matter what I do, she will always run away. Looking at it from that perspective has helped me decide that divorce, which she wants, is probably inevitable. But I still deeply care about her and want her to have the space she needs. I also wanted to possibly help her with her BPD if she was willing. She makes much less than I do, and life won't be easy for her. I'm just not willing to financially help her seek other relationships. I'm badly devastated by this separation. It would be very cruel of her to cheat. My gut feeling is telling me she's being unfaithful. A year later, Sean's husband divorced the wife, and here's what he said. That's in the long run, no husband in history ever ended up regretting getting walked away on. That's just a fact. Yes, it's very painful and expensive at first, and can even make a man vulnerable. But never for long. If you've been left, walked away from, or dumped, just survive the initial hurt and get on with your life. Initial hurt and get on with life. Pray not to repeat your mistakes, though. Because that initial hurt of betrayal or separation is quite a pain to deal with and should be avoided as much as possible. My comment, what do you guys think about this short one? At first, he seems like a doormat, but it seems he grew out of it. Sometimes it takes a while to mature. A comment down below, subscribe and bell. Stay healthy. And I will get back to the next video for you guys.